Hi, everybody. Good to see you today. Just a quick announcement and promotion about an upcoming event this Thursday, March 20th. It'll be on Zoom, and you can connect to it via Pask. It's a learning and Q&A event with Ryan Mudge of Accordance Bible Software. This is Bible software that I use every week in my reading and preparation, and it's available to you to also use too. And so we're going to do a little Q&A and kind of little example promo of some of the things that you can do with the software. So one of the things I want to share with you in this video is about how I use the software, and I'm going to be sharing some files that you can then access too, and it'll be an easy way for you to go ahead and access the software. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you a bit about how I use Accordance Bible software. So what you're seeing here is my Lent 3C workspace, which is these are the readings that are assigned in the Revised Common Lectionary for the third Sunday in Lent. And what you see here is, of course, the Hebrew text, which is available in the Lutheran Studies Advanced package. And then you see the NRSV UE with Strong's, the First Nations version, and the Greek text. These are all part of the Lutheran Studies Advanced package. Now, the basic package comes with the First Nations and the NRSV UE. It doesn't have these versions of the Hebrew and Greek text. But I just want to show you again how this works as you are kind of reading through. It'll highlight the corresponding Hebrew text. And then as we scroll down here, once we get to the First Nations New Testament, you'll see that here we have the NRSV UE, the First Nations versions, and the Greek. And again, because that NRSV UE is tagged, as you go over the Greek word, it also highlights the word in the English. That functionality isn't part of the First Nations, but it still does scroll along. And so you can kind of see where you are. And I find it really handy for my preparation to have the NRSV UE and the First Nations and the Greek text when I'm looking at New Testament texts. Now, the other thing that I make as part of my preparation is I always do a search for the scripture texts for the lectionary in these other parts of Accordance. And so here, the Book of Concord, which is included in the Lutheran Studies Advanced package, what you're seeing on the screen here is actually the 4 times that these scriptures are utilized in the Book of Concord. And so what I want to point out here is what I do then is I go ahead and do a search for the scriptures for these verses, and it highlights those scriptures in red. And so here we have in the Book of Concord, in the formula of Concord, that it's referencing this Luke 13, a verse out of that same text that we're reading this next week. And so you want to see where the 4 exact times that happen. You can use this hit function down here in the lower right corner, and it'll then fast forward through the Book of Concord. Here's another one. 1 Corinthians 10 is cited in, again, the formula of Concord. And so that's the second hit. Here's the third hit, again, 1 Corinthians 10 in the formula of Concord. And 1 Corinthians 10 also in the formula of Concord. So just so happens that the 4 hits in the formula of Concord were in the formula of Concord for the readings for this upcoming week in the lectionary. And so it allows you to just kind of say, well, what were the reformers thinking about for any of these texts that are coming up the next week in our worship services? And here you see that quote. And at some earlier point in my study, I had highlighted this text in the same paragraph because I had found it useful, or maybe even had cited it in a sermon. And so that's why that shows up highlighted. That's just one of my users' notes. But then This file also includes the text, the Book of Concord, Luther's works, and for Luther's works, there are 76 times that any of these texts are mentioned in Luther's works. And so again, you can use the hit function to scroll through the various times and places that the scriptures for next week are mentioned in Luther's works. And so that can be fascinating. It can lead to just insights about what the reformers were thinking. The same is true. I'm going to go back up to the top here in the annotated Luther series. And this one happens to have 19 exact hits to these scripture references. And then finally, I have in Bonhoeffer's works 49 exact hits to these various scriptures in Bonhoeffer's works. And so if you were looking for, well, what did Bonhoeffer think about these specific texts? And see, here you see there's a text that's referenced in The Cost of Discipleship. The very next hit actually is in Life Together, and another great text by Bonhoeffer. And so this is an easy way to scan through all of these resources as you're doing your reading of the lectionary. So there it is, a little bit of what I wanted to share with you today. And so we're going to be talking about this and all kinds of interesting things about Accordance Bible software. And so I hope you'll join us to have these discussions. And even if you don't have the software, just maybe if you're thinking about, well, maybe it's something I want to consider, come along, join us, and we'll have some discussion. And for those of you who are already using the software, you'll be able to ask some questions directly of Ryan Mudge, who is works with Accordance Bible software. So that is Thursday, March 20th. And it's going to be at 9 a.m. and 7 p.m., 2 times on Zoom. You can access Zoom via Pask. It's in the live events section of Pask in the fellowship hall. And if you're not on Pask, you can also just send me a direct request, an email, and I'll go ahead and send you the Zoom link. All right, thanks for your time. I hope that we can get together on Thursday via Zoom, and that's again at 9 a.m. or 7 p.m. Thursday, March 20th. Talk to you soon.